Welcome guys to another gaming collection update for the month of June. I have a lot of exciting collectibles that I got this month, a comic book that I've been after for a long time, and a couple of really cool pieces that really come to life that you guys need to check out. So let's go ahead and get into the video.
Gaming tech, eating brekkie is the gaming tech, going for a recce is the gaming tech, gaming techie is the gaming tech, gaming techie.
Alright guys, welcome to another gaming collection update for the month of June. I got a lot of exciting stuff for you guys this month, as you can see right here in front of me. I actually picked up a couple of cool collectibles that I'm really excited to talk about that I added to the collection that's here in front of me. And a couple of books that I was really happy with, and a VR piece that makes VR even more immersive. And a few other things, and something that I've been looking forward to for a long time. So, let's go ahead and dive into this video. Let's go ahead and start right up and see what we got. So, let's start with the pins that are actually right in front of me to start off very simple here. As you guys know, in the movie room, I'm redoing all my shelving, making each shelf designated to a certain theme, like for example, either Marvel or DC or horror or stuff like that, of all my favorite movies and shows and all those kinds of things. And some of these pins are for that, and this is the first pin here. This is from The Conjuring. This is a pin from that movie, so excited to add that to the collection there. That's how that looks like. And then we got a couple of other pins here. We have two Superman pins. You can see what those look like right there. So these are a really cool old school Superman pins, and also a really old school Catwoman pin as well. That's really cool. Keeping up with the pin theme, we got a couple more. We got a Hannah Montana pin right here. And yes, as I mentioned before in other videos, I am a Hannah Montana fan. I love this show when I was younger and watching it, and there's a pin from that show to put next to like the TV show collection and stuff. So excited to add that to the collection. That's really cool. And keeping up with another last pin that we have here. This is a Captain America pin. This is a really cool pin from obviously the Captain America movie that he wears. So I'm excited to add that to the collection. It looks really nice. And we got some figures here, of course, as well. First figure we have here is from The Exorcist. You can see a little figure that looks like that. As one of my favorite horror movies when I was a kid that I actually used to watch this. I'm really excited to add that to the collection there. And we also have a cool Stewie doll here. You can see here, and he actually talks too. He has a few different sayings from the TV show. So if you hit the button here in the front.
I'm going to crack double for you tonight. Unhand me, woman, I don't guess I'm in love. Listen, I guess it's both. You shall rue this day. But go on, stop moving. Oh, there I've gone and soiled myself. Are you happy now? There's treachery afoot. Stop mocking me!
So we'll end it right there with the most famous saying from him, "Stop mocking me." So I really like this show, and I'm excited to add this to my collection as well. As a really big Family Guy fan, so excited to add that. And a couple of cool cars here that I really like, especially this one right here. This is the Batmobile. I really like the way that this Batmobile looks. I love the style of it. I love the look of it, and it goes really great on my DC shelf. So really excited to add that as well. And we got a Jurassic Park little Jeep there. And along with that, we might as well continue with the Jurassic Park theme. I forget the exact name of this. This is from the 25th anniversary. They sold this at Comic-Con San Diego. And obviously you can see it's like a little dinosaur egg worth of dinosaur popping out there from Jurassic Park, 25th anniversary. So this is really cool to add as well. Like I said, it's from the 25th anniversary. Looks like it's from 2018 when Comic-Con was happening. Moving on here, we have a figure here from Disney Infinity. I'm missing like two, well, I think I'm only missing one after this one as far as the Marvel characters go from Disney Infinity. And there's a couple of reasons why I collect these. One, I really like the figures, and I've actually repurposed at least half of the Marvel figures on a different wall over there. I wish I could show them all, but I can't. But I am showing at least half of them on the wall, which you guys will see whenever I do a room tour again. And so yeah, I'm excited to add him to the collection, Ant-Man, because I was missing him. I'm only missing one more. And the second reason that I actually have it is because if you guys are familiar with the Disney Infinity brand, I know that The game is no longer being supported. There's no online or anything, but there is a really cool game pack that came out like a little disc, and it was called Marvel Battlegrounds. And if you guys know what Power Stone is in the Dreamcast, think of that game and think of Marvel characters instead. And that's basically what Marvel Battlegrounds is. That game is so much fun, being able to put all your Marvel characters on there and play like use their special abilities and stuff to try and kill each other and stuff like that using their Marvel powers. So much fun, and that's why I'm collecting all the Marvel figures. And like I said, I have one left. Because some of them are actually expensive. Like the last one I left, I think is $30 by itself. So, moving right along here, we'll start with we'll go along with these cards here. These are DC cards. You can see the DC family there in front, and then it has a bunch of other cards in there as well. Just an easy way to show all the DC all the DC characters right there on the front, and then also some of their biographies and stuff on the card. So, I was really happy to add that as well. Let's move along and let's look at some of the Blu-rays we added this month. One of the Blu-rays we added is The Dark Knight Rises. I didn't realize I didn't have this as part of my collection, and I had the other two Dark Knight movies, so I really wanted to add this to complete the trilogy there, so got that added. And of course, the next in the Marvel franchise is Thor in 3D. For those of you guys who don't know, for some crazy reason, I didn't watch Marvel movies up until like 4 months ago. I didn't know anything about Marvel. I knew it existed. I knew the characters by name and all that stuff, but I didn't watch any of the movies. I didn't read any of the comics or anything like that. And as talking to people on my job, they're like, "You're crazy!" Like, as somebody who likes video games and is a part of the geek culture, how have you not watched a Marvel movie? So I took it as advice. I started watching it from beginning, starting with the beginning movies, and I'm up to Thor now. And I'm really, really liking all the movies so far, and I hear it keeps getting better and better, so I'm excited to keep watching them. And I can't believe it took me this long to watch these. And then obviously I got into comics as well. Now reading some of the comics and getting some of the backstory of some of these characters. But can't believe it took me this long to watch Marvel and get into that whole thing. I don't know why as a kid. I'm sure I dressed as Superman one day when I was a kid by a costume or something that I don't remember. But as far as like being into the Marvel movies and the lore and stuff, for some reason I never was into that. So, put those aside. Some of the video games we got here. Tony Hawk 2 on the PSP. Underground 2 Remix. Now, the reason I got this game is because this game is really fun to play with 4 people. Wireless multiplayer. And as somebody who owns 2 Vitas and 2 PSPs, I have a backup copy of this now. So, this one goes in one of the PSPs, and the other 3 PSPs have the digital file on it. So all 4 of them can now compete against each other. So that's why I wanted to have a copy of my collection for this game. That game is a lot of fun to play. Going with that same idea is WarioWare Gold on the 3DS. Not only is WarioWare such a fantastic franchise, and this game is great because it incorporates 300 of the best mini games that WarioWare ever had. Unfortunately for this one, you actually need to have 2 copies. Like, you know how sometimes on the DS and the 3DS you only need 1 copy from a local multiplayer and it lets you like share it. This one you actually need 2 copies for whatever reason. So luckily this is my 1 copy, but then I also have a backup digital file on the other 3DS, so we can compete 1v1 on this. So it's 2-player versus. So that's really cool to add to the collection. Some of the magazines that we added, I'm really happy to add these specific 3 magazines. Let's start with the first one here. This is a really cool magazine to have as part of the collection. This is 100 Games to Play Before You Die. This is a really cool book. Has a lot of different games that everybody should play in their lifetime and stuff. A lot of cool favorites in here like Final Fantasy and Sonic and stuff. So I'm really excited to have this book, and it's a great read when people are over to go ahead and read that. And as somebody who was born in the 90s, I'm really happy that they did this. This is from, I forgot to mention, this is from a company called Retro Gamer from the UK, and they basically make retro gaming magazines still, which is awesome. And they usually have a monthly magazine, and it goes into retro gaming and stuff. And they do some special issues sometimes. This being one of them, and this being another one. This is the '90s collection, so all about the '90s and all the toys, all the movies, all the things about the '90s. And this is just fun to like flip through and stuff, and see some of the stuff from the '90s and reminisce, some of the stuff that you used to do when you were a kid and own. So. Really cool to have that. And then keeping with that is the Ultimate Retro Collection. This is just not a specific decade, but just in general movies that define the generation and toys and stuff like that. So all 3 of those magazines I was really happy to add into my collection. Moving here with the book right in front of me is the Avatar book. as a really big fan of Avatar, especially because it's the movie that got me into 3D in general. This is a really cool art book that I added to the collection, and it has all the cool art from the movie and stuff like that. And it was really cheap too. It was like $13, I believe, on Amazon, brand new. So that was a really good ad as well. So let's move on to some of these figures here. So let's start with this figure right here before we move on to what's underneath it. Obviously, you guys can all see this is Wonder Woman. And let me pick it up here so you guys can see it. This is Wonder Woman that I added to the DC shelf there, so I'm really excited to add that. As a big fan of the Wonder Woman movie, this was a really easy add, and she's an iconic character from the DC universe. So really looking forward to adding that. She looks really good. Stands really well, and this can pose in all different areas depending on how you want it to stand. So this is really cool. Get another close up there for you guys. So really cool figure to add. Let's put that here to the side. Something that I was really excited to add to the collection. I've been looking forward, and I've been stalking this on eBay for at least 2 months now, maybe even longer. Is basically a comic book series from one of my favorite video games called The Last of Us by Naughty Dog on the PS4. And I've been watching these because these actually go for like $80 to $100 on eBay for all 4 issues. And I didn't want to pay that much, and I've been stalking, and somebody finally came up and only was doing, I believe, 60 or best offer. And I offered him 40, and he took it, so I was really happy to add this to the collection for that price. Basically under half of what the current asking price is usually for these comics. And there's issue 1 there, and issue 2, issue 3, and issue 4. And what's even better about these comics is that they're obviously, as you can tell, all boarded up. Like the guy actually had them all boarded, and they were in really good condition, so didn't even look like they were actually ever read. Alright, so we have 3 big pieces left. The three favorite things that I added to the collection this month. Even though there's a lot of cool stuff that I added. Let's start with this Spider-Man thing here. Now, this is made by Spiro. If you guys aren't familiar with Spiro, they're the ones who made like the droids and stuff that spun around, and you use an iPhone app, and you can sit there and control it. This one also has an iPhone app, and you can use it for a lot of cool things. But what I like about this one is you actually don't even need the iPhone app open to do a lot of the functions that this lets you do. Some of the functions is it's voice activated, so you can talk to it and tell it to tell you a joke, do stories. You can go on missions with it, and he'll go around the city and try to save people, and he'll ask you like, hey, how should I take this person out? And depending on what you say, it will do certain things and say certain things. There's hours and hours of dialogue with this thing, and one of the cool things you could do with the actual iPhone app as well is he can actually sit there with you and watch the Spider-Man animated series, the one on Disney XD from 2017, and he'll go through and make commentary while you're watching the show with him. And another cool thing that he does as well is you can sit him down and you can activate like scanning. I forget the exact term, but like a guard mode, I think is what it's called. And if someone passes by him and he sees them, then he alerts and says like, hey, who goes there, kind of thing, and he like alerts you that somebody's walking through there, like an intruder kind of thing. So really cool stuff. And if you guys want to see an in-detail review on this or the Cars one that we're going to get into here in a moment, go ahead and leave a comment down below, and I'll do a full review on it if you guys want, because there's a lot of cool things about it. I'll show you guys real quickly him turning on so you guys can see a little bit. You can see his lights up right here. And his eyes will turn on here in a second. And the speaker's pretty loud on this thing too. This thing was actually like, I believe it was like $150 when it came out, and I only paid $40 for this now, and it's like in brand new condition. It was called used, but it came with the box and everything, and it looks brand new. It works perfectly. So that was a steal at $40. This thing was $150, when it came out like a year or so ago, or maybe a little longer than that. So there's the eyes. You can see his animated eyes that he has there, which is really cool.
Ultimate Dude, hey! I got a chance to check the DMV records for the license plate number we got off that van we saw on patrol. It was registered to an old theater company. Problem is, nobody has heard from them in years. We should keep an eye out if we're ever patrolling in the theater district. On a side note, great job being so quick on your feet during that patrol. I saw the latest issue of the Bugle. It mentioned the burglary, but nothing about us being there. That headline would have read a lot differently if Jameson had caught wind of us being in the area. Really glad those cops never saw us. Anyways, what do you feel like doing?
Tell me a joke.
What did the green grape say to the purple grape?
What?
Breathe, you fool, breathe!
So you can see some of those corny jokes that he has, and you can see when you start him up, obviously when we powered him on, he remembered the conversation because this is an ongoing story and stuff, and he feels like he's actually alive because he's going through and actually remembering the story that we left off and the last mission that I did with him, and he's like, hey, remember that mission? We actually caught the guy kind of thing, and the story continues. So really cool stuff. Let's go ahead and power this down here. Really cool stuff from the Spider-Man thing when it came out. I'm surprised I didn't hear about it when it actually came out, but I guess it's a good thing because I saved me some money. Speaking of, this thing is even cooler for different reasons. This one here is obviously from the Cars franchise, and this one has an iPhone app. This is more iPhone app only. There's not a lot of things you could do with it. You can't even power this thing on without having the app next to you on your phone. So unfortunately, I can't power this thing on for you guys right now. But like I said, if you guys want me to do a full review, I can go through all these features and show you more in detail. But what makes this one really cool is you can see his mouth here in the front and the screen right here. This obviously has the same idea with that one that has the animated eyes, and his animated eyes appear here. But this mouth actually moves when he talks, and the car bounces up and down. Like it just makes it feel like it's really alive and really cool. And it powers on even. You can plug in the charger through the gas tank there, which is really cool. That's a nice little touch. And this has a similar, some of the familiar features that the Spider-Man one has. This one has a lot of dialogue and stuff that he randomly talks about. But this one's obviously more like an RC car. So you use the iPhone app and you can drive him around and stuff, and he'll make commentary and stuff while you're driving if you hit things and stuff like that. And also can watch all the Cars movies with you, like Spider-Man can with the Spider-Man series. This one can watch Cars 1, 2, 3, 4 and sit there next to you and make commentary when he sees himself on the screen and all that stuff. And there's some mini games you can play on the app, and while you're playing it, the cars will actually talk. And this is just a really cool collector's piece because people recognize it obviously instantly, and people have no idea that this mouth is actually going to move and this screen's actually going to light up and stuff. This was like $250 when it came out a year or so, or a year and a half ago. And another exciting deal I got on this one, that I got this for $100, $110 I believe, and with the box and all that. And this is just really cool. And I'm glad again I didn't have to find that a couple of years ago, and didn't know about it back then when it actually came out, because I would have wanted it, and now I got it for less than half than what the cost was when it came out. So this is a really cool collector's piece, especially for Pixar fans like me, and Spider-Man there for Marvel fans. So moving on, guys, the VR thing that I added here, I actually did a full review on the channel for this already. So if you guys are interested, this is the Pro 2 VR gun stock. If you guys want to see a full review, this is actually already on the channel. So you guys can go ahead and watch that. But basically, in VR, you can actually hold this now like this, and you can play, your gun games like Contractors and Onward and stuff like that. And this adds to the immersion in the game, because now it feels like you're actually holding a gun. You're putting this against you. You're putting this on your cheek. You're aiming down your sights, and not only is it fun to use and just adds more immersion, but on top of the fact that it's fun to use, it actually makes you a better player, because now you have a lot more accuracy, as opposed to just holding the two, the controllers to the Oculus Rift. You can now actually put them in here and then move around, and this is really cool because these things are magnetized. So when you need to reload in VR, you basically just pull this out from the front, take your ammo clip from your belt, put it into the gun real quick, and the snaps right in, and you're ready to go. And it only takes like a game or two to get used to where this is, and then you just put it back on, and instantly with the strong magnet, it just attaches right back in there. And this has a lot of customization. This is the way I choose to use it, because I use a lot of rifles and AKs and stuff like that in the game. But if you want to use it for pistols or smaller SMGs and stuff, this can actually move up and down right here at this point. This can move up and down at this point as well, and so can this part right here. So there's a lot of customization depending on your length of your arms and stuff. But this is obviously the most comfortable for me. So this is really, really cool. I highly recommend you guys, if you guys are VR fans and definitely fans of like gun games and stuff, check out my full review so you guys can see some gameplay of this in action, because it's some really cool stuff. So guys, that is all the stuff that I got this month for the month of June. I hope you guys agree that I got some really cool stuff this month, some really cool collectibles and figures to add, and a couple of video games and stuff. As always, don't forget that those video games that I get are obviously only things that I actually add to my collection. So a lot of the games that I get digitally, either for review copies on the Switch or the Xbox or the PS4, or any of those games that I actually buy digitally, which every game that I buy on the Xbox and PS4 is always digital. On the Switch, I rotate back and forth depending. So you won't see hardly any. It doesn't mean that I haven't gotten any of the new games that came out on those systems. It just means you're not going to see it on here because it's not a physical copy. It's all digital. So just so you guys know, a lot of the stuff you see here is retro games and maybe some Switch games here and then. So guys, that is everything we got. If you guys have any questions about anything you guys saw, and of course if you want me to do full reviews on these two things as I mentioned, go ahead and leave your comments down below. If not, thank you guys for watching. Till next time.
Tech, Gaming Techie is the Gaming Tech, Gaming Techie, Gaming Tech. Eating brekkie is the Gaming Tech, going for a recce is the Gaming Tech, Gaming Techie is the Gaming Tech, Gaming Techie.